200 years ago, in the Kingdom of Benin, now Nigeria, lived a fierce and wise Queen Idia. Idia was known for her political acumen, skills as a warrior, and mystical abilities. Her bravery and intelligence not only helped raise and guide the future king of Benin, it also saved an entire kingdom in a time of war and turmoil.
Hello there, my lovely people. In today's story, we will be talking about Queen Idia of the Benin Kingdom. Now, I know not much people know of much queens of Africa. When they hear African queens, they think of Egyptian queens, and that is quite sad because there are so many that lived across the continent of Africa. You could find them north, south, east, west, and in the center there was a lot, and Queen Idia is one of them. Idia. So tune in if you want to find out why this queen is celebrated as the warrior queen, how she got her son to sit on the Edo Kingdom's throne, the Petty Kingdom's throne, and how she gained her title as Queen of the Benin Kingdom. So tune in if you want to find out. So before we touch upon Queen Idia, I want to discuss the empire, Benin Kingdom, because I don't know, it's shocking that not much people know about African kingdoms that once existed before the Europeans came. They were high and mighty and very prosperous, and I know that is hard to believe by many, but it is true, and here it is. So the Benin Kingdom was established in the 11th century, and it was annexed by the British Empire. Let us get this straight, that the nation state of Benin that we know of today has no historical relation to the Kingdom of Benin. The Kingdom of Benin is only Nigeria, and the nation state of Benin was actually historically called Dahomey during the 17th century until 1975. So yeah, that is the most important part. So just know that the Benin Kingdom was one of the oldest and most developed states in the hinterlands of West Africa, and all of it fell and collapsed when the British came and annexed it in 1897. So when was it that the Benin Kingdom became known to the world? This is what happened. The Portuguese came along in 1472. In 1472, during a Portuguese voyage where they were traveling along the coast of West Africa, and then a Portuguese explorer called Rue de Siqueira, I hope I pronounced it right, arrived at the coast of the Niger Delta, and that is in present Nigeria right now. Get some sun. Vitamin D. So this was an area that was controlled by a powerful kingdom, and that kingdom is Benin, which is located into the hinterlands of the Delta, the Niger Delta. So the kingdom was not known by the Portuguese until they came upon this delta, right? And they saw what the Kingdom of Benin was like. It took a decade later, in 1486, where this Portuguese explorer called Afonso was visiting the Delta, the Niger Delta, to see what Benin was like, because he heard stories. Of course, he had heard stories. And what he found was a large, advanced country with a city comparable to Europe, probably even better than Europe, and the people of the Edo Kingdom, they lived in city and towns, and it was centralized and it was sophisticated bureaucracy, right? And the roads were wide, the roads were long and straight, and they had metal lamps hanging many feet high for light at night. This was a developed country from what he could see. The people lived in large houses, really big houses with courtyards, and dressed in beautiful fabrics that were only made in the city. So this was civilization. Afonso, he was so surprised, he was so shocked, he was like, oh my god, the high levels of organization and wealth of this kingdom is astonishing. And he described the city of Benin as the great city of Benin. The great city of Benin. And quickly he established a diplomatic and trade relationship with Benin, and he remained there as the emissary, where a relationship was then built between Portugal and Benin from that day on. And let me tell you, the king of Benin did send a couple of his emissaries to Portugal at different times. So this new founded relationship between a European country and an African country, Portugal and Benin, developed a very beautiful culture, which is the language. It developed the Persian language that a lot of Western African people, Nigerians today, you will hear them speaking it. And you might be surprised to know that this is also known as the Portuguese Creole. The Creole of Portuguese was spoken by thousands of people, even in Asian countries. You have them spoken by Malaysians, Sri Lanka, Indians, spoken by Singapore, and another one is Indonesia, right? And you need to know that the Indo language is the major African component that constitutes the foundation of the Creoles of Gulf of Guinea. So this is a really important question that I need everyone to ask, because I asked it. Did the Benin Kingdom sell slaves? Because during this time period, a lot of Western kingdoms were selling slaves. Was the Benin Kingdom selling slaves as a way of economic profit?
Hand me out. You don't talk about it. Hand me out. I said, Mommy, no, cancel. Not about sex.
Now, what?
Talk about this man.
I know, but I put the pen on. So why not come for an American? Don't say what do you mean? Now Jew, now Jew, now Yerino, now Jews.
C'est Jew.
They think Jews. You think
I don't know. It's
the boy, the busybody, say make like say Africa na shit. But I see a dog conky. Oh, that's why.
What the hell is it saying?
Yeah, my brother said,
you're not happy.
I don't know.
You don't say you're red, no. I go pinchy.
You're right. You're right.
Pinchy, red. Let's say was chocolate. I was spider. I'm not dog. I'm not dog. Hide it.
I said, I'm not watching first soul. That juice, so I want to kill married.
No, it's not 10 years old. It's not 10 years. Who say why you don't be fatless?
It's 10 years.
10 years?
You know,
it's 29 years. It's life.
It was during a time, 1471, this explorer called Pedro Escobar, he discovered an uninhabited island that was located in the south of the Niger River, or should I say the Delta, the Niger Delta. He found it south, and since then Benin has been giving them servants, and later on these servants became as laborers of the Portuguese plantations that were on the island. And it was until the early 16th century Benin decided to just ban all sales of slaves, because I really admire that about them, because during that time a lot of Western African countries were doing it, and Benin stopped before the rest of them. So good job, Benin Kingdom. Now we're finished discussing about the Kingdom of Benin. Why I really wanted to touch up on Kingdom of Benin is because it's so surprising to me that so much doesn't know about the African kingdoms. They were so prosperous and they deserve to be taught and known. In my previous videos I've discussed about Queen Asante was Asante Empire of Western Africa. I discussed King Sikihune's Bapidi Kingdom of South Africa, and then I discussed about Mansa Musa and King Abu Bakr II's Mali Empire. So now I'm like, it's a chance to shine some light on the Benin Kingdom, because people still don't want to believe that wealthy, prosperous kingdoms existed in the continent of Africa. So now let us go to the story of Queen Idia, which is a quite short one. Who is Queen Idia? Queen Idia is actually the mother of the Oba. Oba is another language of king of the Oba of the Benin Kingdom. Her son is called Uba Isiji, and he ruled until 1504 to 1550. That's quite a long time to rule, isn't it? So he gained the throne through his mother's help, and that is great. So this is how it all started. So his father, King Azula, who was the former Oba of the Benin Kingdom, died, and he left his lands and kingdoms to two of his illegitimate sons to dispute who will take lead of the land. Parents, you should never do this. Always leave a will, please, because war is gonna happen. War isn't destined to happen, and it did. Isiji at the time was in charge of the Benin city, while his brother was in charge of the city of Udu, which was a couple miles away from Benin city. So a war erupted between the two. So Queen Idia actually contributed to her son's rise and reign during the kingdom, and she was a strong warrior. She fought relentlessly during and before her son's reign as the queen, as the Oba, right? And she mobilized an army around Isuji, which defeated his brother, and he became the king. He became the 16th Oba of the Benin Kingdom. So what was happening during this war? A lot of things were happening. The ensuing civil war severely compromised Benin's status as a regional power and undermined Benin City's place at the political and cultural center of the kingdom. So during this weakness of the kingdom, the people, Agala people, invaded and tried to control the northern parts of the Niger River, Niger Delta, and they failed completely, because Isuji just defeated them with the help of his mother after he conquered them and defeated his brother. He was able to re-establish and re-establish unity and military strength of the kingdom. So he managed to put the kingdom back in order. His mother, Idia. So what happened to her after the war was defeated and the war was victorious for her son, the Uba? So of course, the Uba Isinjis, her son, rewarded her with the title. He rewarded her with the title Ayoba, I hope that's how it's pronounced, which means Queen Mother, and she was given this significant political privilege. The fly went in my mouth. Went in my mouth. including a separate residence with its own staff. Wow. So yeah, she was given credit for these victories as her political counseling, together with her magical and mystical powers and medicinal knowledge, had helped. It was a crucial element to Isinji's success on the battlefield and his success in earning the throne. He rewarded his mother with political power and status and land and everything, and she had a typical representation of Queen Idia, a warrior, right? She was celebrated and loved. Quite a short story, isn't it? But that's it about Queen Idia. She was a warrior. I have an important question for you. Do you think that you have your Queen Idia spirit? What is this Queen Idia spirit? Because the story is really short. There's a lot of flies and I don't want them to go in my mouth again. The Queen Idia spirit is just a warrior. She's brave and relentlessly strong. She fights for power. Let's say she's a little bit power hungry. But this is a leader, right? And she is celebrated for being a warrior queen, right? Not much queens in history, like our Egyptian queens, are warriors. You know, she was a warrior, and the Benin Kingdom was a prosperous, rich, wealthy kingdom that Europeans wanted to go and live there. So, I hope you enjoyed the story of Queen Idia. I know I did. And if you have the Queen Idia's spirit, congratulations. You are phenomenal, and you are a beautiful, strong, bold black woman. Either you're white, Chinese, yellow, whatever you are, you got the spirit of a fighter. So hope to see you again in my next video. Bye-bye.
Well, we don't live in a fair world. Things aren't fair. You don't get equal opportunities. You get the opportunities that you create for yourself. And if someone gets in there first and they conquer you, they colonize you, they enslave you, they simply make your history disappear to make it look like they conquered, colonized, and enslaved nobodies. When people have a history, that makes you a somebody. So if you remove the history, you become a nobody. And so your history disappearing, nobody's lamenting the loss of that history. That's why conquerors, colonizers, and enslavers make the people whose history they've conquered, colonized, and enslaved disappear.
African kingdoms are not given enough recognition as they deserve.